thank the gentleman for yielding. I must admit I feel most inadequate to the task to find words to somehow adequately eulogize this great man, this colleague, this friend of ours we called Henry Hyde. I guess the most important thing that I can say about him in the time that I've served in Congress, I can think of no greater champion of human life and human freedom than Henry Hyde. When I think about the Hyde Amendment and what that means to human life, that accomplishment alone is worthy of an entire Congress, and it's really the work of one United States Congressman. Tens of thousands live today because of Henry Hyde. There can be no doubt about that, Mr. Speaker. And often in debate, we hear people come to the floor and talk about we need to pass this legislation or that legislation because we need to do it for the least of these. He, more than any other, understood in the depths of his heart that the least of these are the unborn. And because of that, he was a champion. And we do properly eulogize him tonight. You know, in debate, Mr. Speaker, it can get quite contentious. One wonders sometimes why a civil society cannot have a civil Congress. But I have no doubt that although many occasionally may have thought him wrong-headed, no one in this institution ever thought he was wrong-hearted, because he always acted out of the purest of motives. And as I hearken back to a comment that the gentleman from Illinois made before me, it is interesting to note that Henry Hyde was one of the few members of Congress that each of us would come to this floor and actually have a greater interest in listening to him than listening to ourselves. Very few members of this body, Mr. Speaker, command that kind of attention. But when Henry Hyde spoke, people wanted to listen because he brought the force of his intellect. He brought his humor. He brought his grace, his kindness. He brought his civility, and he brought his humility to this floor. And because of it, Mr. Speaker, I know that I'm a better person, and I believe that every other member of this institution is also better for having known Henry Hyde and be able to listen to him. We regret his loss, but we thank his family. And I'm well acquainted with his son, Bob, who's a resident of Dallas, as am I, and I just want to thank them for loaning him to this great institution and this great country. And again, I know I'm a better member of Congress and a better human being because I had an opportunity to meet Henry Hyde. And I know that as he meets his Creator, there is no doubt in my mind, Mr. Speaker, that he has heard those words, "Well done, good and faithful servant."